Welcome to the Lone Jack Totally Off Track podcast, a family ran show with myself, Amanda, and my husband, Nolan, and my brother, Matthew, that is, well, a little bit off track. We will cover a wide range of topics. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and you shouldn't either. Thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Lone Jack Totally Off Track podcast. I'm your host for this evening.
Okay. So what are we chatting about, host?
We're chatting about we were just talking before we started. We're The Walking Dead. There's nothing worse than being sick when it's 100 degrees outside.
Having a cold when it's 100.
I would not have known that was 100 degrees between Maddie's sick attire, which was sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and your long sleeve shirt. I definitely was getting more of the winter vibe than anything.
I'm over my sickness. I always wear long sleeve shirts. I'm a gringo.
Also, it is hot there. When we flew into Denver on Friday and stepped out of the airport to walk to our car. So hot. Then when we got there which Kansas was hot too, but when we got out of the car to walk back into the airport on Sunday, it was so hot. I don't know.
Somewhere between Denver and Kansas, we saw 107.
Yeah.
I would believe it because I think it was almost 100 in Denver, if it wasn't already.
I don't know. I guess in my mind, when I think about Denver, I don't think of it being that hot.
It's in a desert.
You don't think of it being flat, and you think of it being like a nice mountainous region.
I guess I'm thinking more like Telluride or something, mountains and cool
Yeah, go
weather.
check out Vail. It's exactly what you've been advertised.
Denver is a flat desert.
Well, in my mind, I know that. I know what Denver is. But in my mind, when I think about Denver, that's just not what I see. I don't know. Because I think it's because of all the hippies there with their little shoes and their little strap-on sandals and everything. Like, they give more of the vibe of mountains than flatland.
Yeah, it's close, I guess.
But that's what I think,
It is close.
It's obviously not correct. I wasn't saying what's in my brain is correct. Just like your boss, I see as like at least a 6'5" black man. And so I know that's incorrect.
You have half of that right.
That's just what I see, okay? So Denver's going to be a mountain. Your boss is a big black dude, Shaq-like, and whatever. It's fine. It's not correct.
I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to say my sister thinks you're black. I've told her you're black.
It's only because of... I've told you why I think that, right?
Why?
I think it was when you first moved and you were updating Dad on work. And I don't know if it was a mistype, like a typo from you, or if it was Dad that just missaid what you said. But anyway, he said that he was a black guy. And so I don't know if it's what you said or Dad read it wrong or whatever, but how he portrayed it to me, I mean, he did correct it like after he said it, but
it was too late.
That's what's stuck in my brain. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what he'll always be. So
well, Dad reads at a third grade level.
So just tell him sorry. That's just the image I have. I'm never going to meet him, but if I do, it's going to ruin everything.
I had my wife convinced for about 5 minutes that Dad was illiterate. He couldn't read.
What?
And then she was like, "Well, how does he read his Bible?" And I go, "Well, he has it on audiobook." And I was like, "In church, they read the Bible. The preacher will read the Bible, and then he can just I was like, he knows what words are. He just can't read them. So if somebody else is reading, he could follow along on a big screen."
Yeah.
And then I added a detail that was too much. I had her convinced, and then I went too far. I pushed too far. And then she was like, "Now I know you're screwing with me. If I wouldn't have pushed too far, I would have had her convinced that my dad couldn't read."
Oh, geez. That's rough. Sorry, Dad. He's going to be listening to us on his
He doesn't listen. He doesn't listen.
Occasionally.
He doesn't answer my phone calls. He doesn't give a rip.
He's having way too much fun is the problem.
He talks to Amanda through the Ring camera on the porch.
That's creepy.
I was talking with our cousins, and I don't think they could hear me because he kept saying, "Tell her hi," and they would say hi, and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And they just were like, "Hi."
There's a lot of. I was a little ways away in the yard, and all I heard was highs going back and forth. Nothing else, just highs.
Like, it's almost like they made this invention that you could just dial my number and we could actually have a conversation. Except for
They're watching it on that invention.
Yeah, exactly. They can see me. I can't see them. I don't know who I'm talking to. It's a mess, but anyway.
I think we touched
should have mooned him and walked away.
Me?
You should have.
Moon my...
Whoever was watching.
Poor cousins and my father. Hey, I don't think anybody
You did not consent to being filmed. What they see... I don't think
anybody listed.
It's their fault they were watching at that time.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think that... We've touched on how if you don't answer the phone, I'll leave you a nasty voicemail. Mm-hmm. Dad made the mistake of listening to that voicemail in front of the whole family.
The Father's Day voicemail.
Yeah, the Father's Day voicemail.
He didn't answer when you were trying to wish him Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, and he called me back and he said, "Hey, so we just listened to your voicemail." I said, "What do you mean we?" He goes, "Your aunt, your uncle, and all your cousins." And I said, "Oh, lovely. What did they think?" They can't believe that you talked to me like that.
Oh my gosh.
I ended it with, "I love you, Happy Father's Day." He goes, "It's how you started it that they had problems with." Yeah, that little bit in the start, yeah.
Okay, one last thing that I see incorrectly, but it will always be the same, is that there's a guy named Maynard in Texas.
That's friends with my brother Cameron.
Well, he was friends with your dad too. Your dad
is he in a band?
Your dad would have been the first to talk about Maynard. And so coming from your dad, I thought, perfect, okay? He's older. This Maynard obviously is at least 90, okay? Because his name's Maynard. Well, I guess I probably have seen him when we've gone there before, but I think it finally just clicked, last year when we were there for the yard sale, and Maynard showed up to buy some stuff, and he's like a 30-something-year-old guy with like a young wife and some young kids. And
this can't be the same guy.
This is not Maynard. This guy is like, he's got to have a different name. Like, Maynard is not, it just can't be Maynard. And so then Cameron was talking about Maynard this past weekend, and I was like, yeah, he's
thinking 90. Of an old dude.
He's 90. I'm sorry. That's
yeah.
Kept thinking
he
of a
gets
geezer.
Older every time I think about him, but he's not 30. He's pushing 100 at this point. But anyway. So, yeah. Do you guys have anything like that you like have a picture in your mind and it's not right, but that's just what you picture, but you know it's incorrect?
I think everybody's like this, but anytime I hear, like I was talking with a gal the other day, her name was Amanda, and I was like, this is, I don't know. And then like, I don't know. I would hear Amanda, I think of my sister. I was like, yeah, you're not Amanda. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't meet many Amandas in the wild. I don't think I have.
Really?
Like
it's
a couple?
Very popular name.
It's popular, but I guess I haven't really. Trying to think of, like, I know there's an Amanda here. She's in the family of a guy that worked for Dad for a while. Like, she's who I would think of first as like another Amanda.
Okay, I totally forgot about her.
Yeah, but like other than that, like it would take me a minute to think of some other ones. But
how many? Matt is really popular. I've met a lot of Matts, but I have met very few Matthews. That's why I stay loyal to the soil.
Well, I think maybe
Matthew.
Maybe he goes by Matt, but the roofing guy, he has a Matthew son, but I don't know if he goes by Matt or Matthew.
I don't count him.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just you.
You just picked one. All right, it's first book of the New Testament. You could pick a religious family. Of course, they have a son named Matthew. It's fine.
I haven't met
Matthew, Mark,
Nolan,
Luke, and John. Those are your first four boys. So
I've never met another Nolan. There's the last name Nolan around here. Nolans, but I don't know the people, but that was like the only place I would see that name.
I'm trying to think if I've ever met another. I mean, I don't think I've ever personally met.
I mean, obviously you were named kind of after a baseball player.
Well, sort of, yeah.
You were supposed to be Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
But that's not you anymore.
Never was.
Never was. Anyway, yeah. Do you have anything like that?
I was trying to think, and I can't think of anything right now.
You're just too perfect.
I guess so, yeah.
Too perfect.
It must be nice. I'm over here like, yeah, I don't see anything correctly, but you guys are like, yeah, no. I don't know. It's fine.
Do we know what Matthew means?
Yes.
Gift of God.
Look it up. Look it up. We were looking up names because we got a new little nephew this weekend. And so we were trying to figure out what his name meant. And then we started looking up other names because it's very funny. Nolan has a cousin. And in his family, he's definitely God's gift to earth. Okay? And but
his
name's
not Matthew. If it was Matthew.
Yeah. But his name means dirty and sickly
and unclean.
Yeah.
It means sickness or weakness.
Or weakness. Just so funny.
It's a horrible name.
And so Nolan has meant to tell his mom, Nolan's aunt, a couple times because it would really just rain on her parade, but he has yet to do it. But I'm really looking forward to that day. But yeah, we were looking and like his one brother's name means crooked nose.
I need that name.
And we totally did his mom in because we were like, yeah, people really need to look up the names of this. And then she was mortified that she named her child something that meant crooked nose. And then Nolan is noble
or famous.
Yeah.
Another interpretation is descendant of the famous one.
Mm-hmm.
It is also sometimes associated with the meaning champion or descendant of a champion fighter or chariot fighter.
So yeah, so Nolan got the best name of his family.
My nose is crooked, but that's because Dad hit me with a hammer when I was 16, and it broke, and it never set right. I won't add any more context to that.
I was like, you make it sound like he just...
Just hit me.
It was not what you think, people.
It was the claw end of the hammer. He got me.
Amanda's name means worthy of love.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yep.
I wonder what my other...
Worthy of abuse is what we always said growing up.
That's right.
House? Yeah.
Priest house.
What'd you say, Matthew?
It was worthy of abuse was what we would always say growing up. What did Matthew mean? I thought it was for real gift of God.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were right.
Come on now.
That's why
Come on now.
Such a healthy, prideful attitude.
I do. Pride cometh before the fall. I'm seeing a fall in my future.
He gets that from his sister.
Don't put me in the same boat as her.
We have to toot our own horns. No one else will do it for us.
And something bad is in the tube for me. I don't know what,
Madison
but I
mean? Do you know what Madison means?
I have a pretty good guess. Well, she's not here, but
what is it?
She might.
Are you being mean?
She might listen to it later.
Son of Matthew?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
It is.
That's.
She's your son.
Oh wow, that's not good.
You two are so greatly matched. You, Matthew, Madison.
The gift of God married his son. Yeah, that's good. There's somebody in like old time England right now hearing Matthew married Madison. It's like, we didn't have homos in this period. Especially marrying too close to the family tree type of. That's gross.
I didn't think you were related. There you go.
No.
I have looked up every name on my baby name list, and all of them have good meanings. Though I did have to take one off my baby name list because it's the middle name of our new nephew, so it got cut off because I can't take other people's names. Or at least people in the family that I know of. Like, some of the names are based off other people, but...
I see. Would you go for like a Game of Thrones name? I have a friend. He named his kid some exotic
like Khaleesi
names.
or what?
I'm
trying to think of some of the other ones. Like there's a T. What's the little guy's name?
Targaryen.
Tyrion.
Tyrion
Lannister.
I kind of like Tyrion, actually. That one's not
Tyrion's
bad.
pretty pretty cool name.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some bad ones. Hodor. Naming your kid Hodor probably wouldn't be good.
There's Ned. He dies pretty early on, though.
No, thanks for the spoiler. Episode 1 would tell you that.
Well, it was after episode 1 that I wondered if I should even continue the series, because he was my favorite character and he died right away. I realized you shouldn't have a favorite. Actually, what I thought of is that I should have had a favorite, and it should have been the Dragon Lady, so that she would have kicked the bucket, because I didn't like her from the beginning.
I'm sure they were based off of what your likings were.
I think so, because all the people I like.
What appealed to you with Game of Thrones? Because you hate everything fantasy.
I don't think of anything about Game of Thrones.
You just watched it because it's popular? Was it one of those things?
Nolan wanted me to watch it with him, and I hated most of it. And then when it came to the red dinner or red supper or whatever, I'm still
the red
scarred.
wedding. Mm-hmm.
Red wedding, and I'm still quite upset about that, honestly. And it's been like 8 years since I watched it.
I see.
I think about that almost every day.
So Nolan, what actress did you want to see full frontal? Do you want to watch the show?
The blonde one, the little dragon lady. What a biatch.
That was also episode 1.
She was screwing her brother.
Oh, the different blonde lady. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
The dragon lady. Well, the
I never
other
watched
one,
the
she
show.
had the walk of shame. I
watched 2 episodes.
I don't know. Maybe they do it at every hockey game, but at the Chiefs hockey games, when someone gets put in the box, they have that scene. Obviously, she's not naked.
She's not naked in front of the audience.
But they have like the Chiefs little, like what is it, a tiger's, a jaguar or something? Like the bear face on her body, but it's like zoomed in, so it's like just her shoulders and her head. But it's like, shame, shame, shame. And I'm like, what am I witnessing right now? It's like
Did you like the name Joffrey?
No, I didn't like that guy. What a perv.
Arya, Eddard, Tyrion,
Samwell,
Stannis,
Jamie.
The Lord of the Rings their names, that was a pretty niche category. A lot of people name their kids after the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
What's the name that he went with for his kid?
My friend?
Yeah.
Torin and Rorin?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of strange names. I think that those might be nicknames. I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Were people naming their kid Frodo or what?
No, people were naming their kid
Gollum, obviously.
Yeah, Gollum. People were always going with Gollum. They're like, come on now. A lot of Sams.
Yeah.
They weren't going with Samwise because Samwise is kind of a little bit of a weird name.
Really he ticked me off in the movies. He really burnt my.
You didn't
like Samwise?
Really burnt your biscuits? Is that what you were gonna say?
You really burnt your biscuits.
Faramir, Treebeard.
Yeah, Treebeard. Somebody was naming their kid Treebeard. No, there's a female elf. I think Eowyn. If you ever see that name, you know their parents were freaks back in the day.
I've never heard anybody named any of this stuff, but like you said, I have hardly met any other Amandas.
Which one? This one, Eowyn or Arwen? Both of them are.
Both.
I don't know.
Both are love interests. One's an elf, one's not.
Yeah.
Those books were a letdown.
You guys are guys, so I don't know if you think the same way as ladies, but
probably not.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some guys, I don't know. But do you ever hear a name and like you probably don't think of like if I have a kid? I mean, you're both married and you think you're going to have kids now. I mean, obviously you weren't doing this when you were 12, like some girls. But like, do you guys ever hear a name and you're like, or watch a show and be like, that's kind of an interesting name. Like, maybe that would be interesting to name our children. Mm-hmm. Do you do that?
I feel like I have, but I can't think of what the name was.
Oh, you should have told me.
Well, that's the thing, is it's a passing.
Yeah.
Passing
okay. So you do it. You just don't make a list like maybe girls do. Like I
Yeah, I heard the name Hugo Boss, and I was like, that's gotta be it. I'm kidding. He was a Nazi. It's okay. Don't worry. Or at least he designed the uniforms. It's fine. I was joking around with Hugo Boss, but it's okay. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Let's move on quick.
I saw, so like there's this new trend, or it's not new. Since I see everything late. Speaking of trends, okay, I'm going to change this topic for 1 second. TikTok, so lame. Okay. I was on TikTok for a while. I'm still on there, but I deleted the app because TikTok is too much. Okay. It's as dumb as I thought it was. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm back to Instagram occasionally. So that's why I'm like behind on trends. Okay. But there's like this new one where it like starts and like a lot of people are like, how much did this meal cost? And then the other person's like, it was $800. And then the other one's like, oh, that's not too bad or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about. You guys
have seen this. Okay.
I've seen this, yeah.
The new thing is that people are doing this with their pets. So like it zooms to the pet and the pet is like, how much did I cost? And then it goes to the person. It's like, oh, so this one was, you're a purebred German Shepherd. So you were $800. And then it goes back to the puppy and the puppy's like, you know, I'm German. And then it goes back to the person and then it goes back to the puppy and he's sitting there with his paw up in the air.
Oh no.
It was so funny.
Nolan, you're not supposed to do that. Somebody's going to catch you doing that and you'll end up like Elon Musk.
I thought everyone knew what I was saying.
I like it.
My heart goes out to you. Anyway, so I thought that was funny. Because I'm like, oh, people still do have kind of a sense of humor because everyone's so serious online. And then there's this person with their dog who's showing that the dog is a Nazi.
There was a guy.
That's great to be a Nazi, but it's kind of funny. I don't know.
I can't remember his real name, but his screen name is Count Dankula. He trained his wife's pug to do that. He lives in Scotland, and he got arrested and served jail time over that because he was teaching his wife or his girlfriend's dog how to do the Nazi salute.
Wow,
that was a long time ago. But
he makes jail time.
That's terrible.
The UK doesn't have like freedom of speech.
Sense of humor.
That's true.
Oh. They do, but they don't. So I mean, they can deem that as like offensive speech, and you can get arrested for it.
That makes
but anyhow, that's funny. I mean,
hey, I don't know much about it. But speaking of people getting arrested, Liver King has been arrested.
Oh my goodness! What did he do?
He posted some threatening videos threatening Joe Rogan, and the Liver King has been arrested in Texas.
See, now I've been wanting to make some
Liver King, right?
I know, I'm aware of the Liver King.
Okay.
He's fallen off. He said he was all natural. It turned out everybody was right.
He was naturally injecting himself with steroids.
He was naturally on every steroid known to man. Which, like... Everybody knew that.
Yeah, everyone knew.
It'd be like saying I'm on steroids. Everybody would know that is not true. But me just committing to it, like nobody looks like, oh yeah, you're 245 with an 8-pack. Of course you're not on steroids.
That's why I moved out to the woods so I could just walk around eating sticks for my teeth and looking
look
like
at those guys. Look at those guys in the Amazon are all jacked. Every guy in the Amazon is jacked with slabs of muscle. That's a natural diet. Come on now. But that has set the precedent because I have been wanting to make some public statements regarding a certain senator, and you can't threaten a senator. That's where our free speech laws end as political officials. You can't. I mean, for instance, you couldn't say somebody needs to assassinate Mike Lee. Like you can't like. Wait, hold on. So I'm educating you.
You're not saying that.
No. This is an old whitest kids you know bit. I just realized I'm ripping this off. But you can say it to educate somebody. But like you can't say I'm going to assassinate Senator Mike Lee. Like you can't say that as a threat. But like you could say that, like me educating you that you can't say that. This is really a whitest kids you know bit. I didn't realize I was ripping it off when I started. But I've been wanting to say something like that. But also I don't want to spend the rest of my life in jail. So...
Yeah.
So you're not saying it?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
But I could go to jail, but I don't think anybody would disagree with me right now. He's kind of an unpopular fellow.
He is a very unpopular fellow.
I saw it. on Instagram the other day. He was begging. He's like, not even a fraction of 1%. Like, come on now, buddy. I think you know the rules.
My reels are loaded with Cameron Haynes going off almost every day or every couple hours on.
What did he say? Like, did you see the
Cam
video?
Haynes?
Yeah, no.
Liver King. I haven't seen.
Oh, who's Cam Haynes going off on?
On a certain senator.
Oh, really? I'm so in the dark.
This is the certain senator that is pushing the bill to sell public land.
What a putz.
I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
I guess what we can't say,
I don't want anything bad.
I don't know.
I would
be
a
Republican senator from Utah or Nevada?
Utah.
He's from a state that they don't have to offer.
Utah's beautiful.
A couple of rocks?
Utah's
beautiful. No, it's a couple of rocks. Who's going to buy that?
Can I speak for Lone Jack?
They can't make any money off of a couple of red rocks.
It's for quite a few Western states. Can I just make a statement? And I'm being 100% genuine here.
Okay, that's fine.
So everybody listen carefully. If you're watching on YouTube, my facial expression on this will really sell you. I would be devastated if something horrible were to happen to Mike Lee.
Okay, what a
Nolan, okay. Why'd you laugh? Nolan,
I'm laughing at Amanda.
This is our official statement.
We
would be devastated.
Why they're wanting to do that? I don't understand why they're wanting to sell it, because it's state land, but they're trying to sell it because it's federal land. So they're trying to take the federal money to the federal, but it's actually the states, and the state should have ownership of their own land, because how is it? They're like, it's going to give tax deductions. Well, if anybody's getting the tax deductions, it should be the people living in the state, not the government. Yeah, okay, not the federal government, because they have us so effed every which way from straight that if they want to sell something, maybe they should sell 1 or 4 of their houses that they own. Leave the public land alone. And why would a Republican been wanting to do that? What a putt.
Because they're all in bed together, but we don't get the
got
politics.
hit by a helicopter, that we would all mourn his death. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
whatever.
We would be devastated if something horrible were to happen to Senator Mike Lee. We would support him.
I'll get my credit card ready.
We would support his family in any way we could if something
Guinea
horrible.
Would be mortified. He's just mortified.
The Guinea would probably die of sorrow.
Yeah,
exactly. He's already upset that we're even talking about this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. We try to avoid politics, but I've seen like 2 contrarians advocating that they should sell off the federal land, which I get. See, I used to be a big proponent of that the states should own the land and the feds really shouldn't, but the states don't have the money to. They did that in Utah, and they ended up selling it because they couldn't afford to pay the state employees to maintain it and do counts and anything like that. So it's that kind of made the case that the feds.
What all needs to be done? What all needs to be done?
They're like trail clearing. I don't
trails
know.
Need to be cleared?
I don't know exactly what they needed to do, but Utah could not afford to maintain all the federal land that they took over, so they sold it to private corporations that then blocked access to it. So the public could not enter onto it.
I'm just trying to figure out, so in Idaho, I know they're in a lot of states, but Idaho is pretty serious with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Mm-hmm. So if something needed to be cleared or taken care of, I bet we wouldn't need to pay anybody. We could get a ton of volunteers and get it knocked out like that, and no one would even have to spend a dime. Maybe buy us a sandwich or something. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And also, why do trails need to be cleared all the time?
That was just an example I came up with. I don't know if that was true.
That's probably it. Or outhouses, which do need to be there, because if you've met a person, they're not bright. Okay, there would be crap everywhere.
That must be it. Is policing trash. The Guinea is really upset that Senator Mike Lee is healthy.
He's just standing right there.
It sounds
he's circling us.
That's how upset the Guinea would be if something horrible were to happen to Senator Mike Lee's family.
Go to bed, Leo.
This is where I don't agree with Republicans, because they're really trying to...
What are they doing?
Well... Then they're also...
I don't agree with them on a lot of things, actually. But I disagree.
The proposal comes as the Trump administration said it will move to rescind a 2001 rule that blocked logging on national forest lands. The so-called roadless rule has angered Republicans, especially in the West, where forests sprawl across vast mountainous terrain and the logging industry has waned. So now they're trying to get it where they can build roads back into wherever and log land that hasn't been able to be accessed.
Well, that needs to be logged, otherwise there's big forest fires. But
exactly.
The thing is
that let them burn.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them burning. They'll grow back just as strong. I mean, look at our land. It burned 20 years ago, and there's trees everywhere.
Here's a Democratic
logging...
senator in Washington said her constituents want to be able to hike and hunt in public lands as they have for generations. They don't want these lands to be luxury resorts or golf courses.
No.
And that, unfortunately, is the case. I wish it was one of those that they would offer it up to the public. But like in Idaho, I can't remember the unit we were hunting. I don't know. It was one of those little ones in Hell's Canyon. You and Amanda have heard this, but I drew like a second chance tag there. And like 90% of the unit was owned by, it was like Wilkes Brothers Corporation. And there was just like pockets of public land, but the whole unit was private. It was a waste of a time to go down there and go hunting.
You couldn't hardly get into those little...
because you had to like use certain access trails. And I know that they own a lot of land in Montana. So when they sell off that land, I know that like that corporation has somebody that calls the state and says, hey, listen, we see your bill. If this passes, we want these plots for this money. It's all written up. That all they have to do is sign a couple papers. That land is never going to get offered to the public. Maybe little pieces of it, but it's all going to go to mining corporations and, logging corporations, which I know places like Potlatch and Bennett, you can, access the land and stuff like that. But I don't know.
Probably not for a lot longer since people don't follow the rules.
I mean, it gets restricted every year. They say no fires, people start something on fire. They say no vehicles, people ram the gate with their pickup. I mean, they just ruin it for everybody. So that's kind of why I have to be an advocate for, public land, right?
This guy is now saying, he's saying housing prices are crushing families and keeping young Americans from living where they grew up. We need to change that.
No, it's not. They need to get some jobs and get to work.
Adding that a revised plan would remove all Forest Service land from possible sale. Sale of sites controlled by BLM would be significantly reduced so that only land within 5 miles of population centers could be sold.
But then again, we could drive through cities pointing at vacant buildings and lots that they could tear down. How many? There's like, I forget how many acres of land there is just in abandoned malls in the United States that are too expensive to tear down. It's crazy.
It's probably, I mean, that's not shocking. But so that's just frustrating. And didn't Montana somehow get exempt from
They did. This? That's what's creepy about it. Their senator said, I'll sign it. If you exempt Montana from it, I'll sign it. So they didn't agree with it, but they're just doing it because it's a party thing.
Idaho needs to do it too. We're good with that, but we want Idaho.
Land in 11 western states from Alaska to New Mexico would be eligible for sale.
Montana
was carved out of the proposal after lawmakers there objected.
Yeah.
So what? Was this part of his wet dream that he was having? He was like, oh, let's sell off public land. That'll save us.
Well, he's saying Washington has proven time and again it can't manage this land. This bill puts it in better hands.
So then just do Washington. Why are we involved?
Why is it
D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
I'm sorry.
Feds. He's
saying the feds have to sell it, but he's going to sell it to people that we're not going to have access to.
Yeah, because he's saying the feds can't, they've proved they can't manage it. And so I don't know who all is buying it. I can't go buy it.
No.
No one's just going to go buy a parcel of land out in the middle of the Frank Church.
Yeah, they're not going to. Oh, Matthew, how much do you want to buy? Well, I want to buy 10 acres in the middle of it for, whatever.
Thousands and thousands of acres down there in southern Idaho of BLM land. People can't afford just to buy that.
No, it's going to go to somebody with billions of dollars that can spend hundreds of millions to block it off.
You know who's going to buy it?
China.
Frickin' China. That's who they're selling it to. So that's really better than letting it burn. I don't care if California, Utah's not going to burn. There's nothing there but a couple rocks.
I really think Utah's pretty. I don't know why you're on about this.
I've driven through the whole state of Utah, and there's just a couple rocks. There's some red rock. There's some brown rock. There's a little bit of bushes here and there. Utah's not pretty. Utah's awful. The only reason people live there is because they're Mormons.
We should move on from politics.
And they have Muhammad sitting on their temple.
I'm sorry. I know we don't usually talk about politics. I just think I haven't seen very many people against this. So I feel like this is a good topic we can land on. 90%, I think the U.S. agrees on this. So we can move on.
There's not a lot of people against this? This is totally ruining my
There's
day.
very few people against. I'm sorry. There's very few people in favor of selling off all the public land.
I was like, there's not a lot of people against this.
I was saying it backwards.
The worst day ever.
But I would like to say this to end this segment of the Lone Jack podcast. Senator Mike Lee, we wish you well. We wish that you live a long life. We would be devastated if anything were to happen to you. You're a senator, and we respect you just because you make millions of dollars off your donations. People give to you, those donors being BlackRock, Microsoft, and other mega corporations. You deserve respect. We would be devastated if something bad were to happen to you. Please stay healthy.
On glass.
Stay healthy and just don't go to neighborhoods where people want to kill you. I mean, eat slow, chew your food well. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so what's going on with the Liver King?
He declared on Instagram, man to man, I'm picking a fight with you.
Despite
having no martial arts training, Johnson, aka Liver King, challenged Rogan, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, saying he would fight whenever you're ready.
That's a threat now?
What's funny is both of these guys are like 5'5". I know Joe's not a very big guy, but I know the Liver King's also a pretty short guy.
He went to jail for that?
Detectives reviewed the post.
Do these people not have more to do? There are actual criminals in the world, and they're worried about this.
He went to the town.
Detectives reviewed the post and observed that Johnson was traveling to Austin while continuing to make threatening statements. Detectives contacted Mr. Rogan, who stated he had never had any interaction with Johnson and considered the post to be threatening. Based on this information, detectives obtained an arrest warrant for Johnson on a charge of terroristic threat.
Oh, Lord. You gotta be kidding me. They don't have more to do?
A video posted to Johnson's Instagram account showed the moments before his arrest. He is seen pacing the room, discussing his impending prison time in a fight with Rogan. An officer is seen patting him down while he is handcuffed. Johnson is then taken to a police car.
They don't have more to do. Let's go back to the first sentence. Johnson, with no martial arts training, threatened a black belt. Let him go attack Joe Rogan and let's see how it ends.
I say let's do it in a ring, not out in the park, not out on the street.
It sounds like his life would have been over in like 2 seconds. Why are all these officers getting involved? Let Joe Rogan deal with it.
Johnson, who gained fame for his muscular physique and controversial raw meat diet, was charged with making terroristic threats across the misdemeanor.
Know. He's like the salamander guy.
The arrest marks another dramatic turn for the influencer, who faced major backlash in December 2022 after admitting he lied to his followers about steroid use.
It's like that lady that just recently got in trouble on TikTok, where she lost all her weight eating mini cucumbers, which were normal sized cucumbers, which there was a lot of funny parodies of men on that one.
Yeah, with the mini cucumbers, I hear you.
And she was actually on Ozempic. The weight loss was not from her diet. Anyway, I'm just confused why a bunch of police officers are involved in this.
How old is this guy? Because
he looks like he's about 95.
That's what I mean. He looks like he's about 70 something.
But that's what
I think he's late 40s, early 50s.
I was going to see if it's 47. Yeah, 47.
Everybody was buying all his crap because they wanted to look like him or whatever. And I looked at him one time and I was like, that's disgusting. I do not want to look like that man.
Here's his mugshot.
Oh, he's cute.
Didn't you see him? I got to see if I'm putting this though.
Yep, he's cute.
How does that look 47?
If I saw him in public, I would definitely think he was a child molester.
You would avoid him.
But yeah, I don't know why Rogan said it. Like, let him come and...
What is Rogan really, a pussy or what?
I don't know if you're a black belt.
Well,
he's like, oh my gosh, the Liver King's coming for me.
What happens when you're a high profile guy? If Joe Rogan is to fight him, the amount of people, then everybody and their dog would be calling out Joe Rogan to fight. You know what I mean? If you do it once, if one crazy person,
like, so he's just saying like, I'm gonna go fight him, and then like he's no longer, in a couple days, like he's dead, in a ditch.
Joe Rogan's not gonna actually kill him.
Well, he might from one punch. That guy's frail. He's a frail old man. his bone density is like shot.
I bet Joe Rogan's older than he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan's in his 50s.
Yeah, but I'm saying his bone density.
Joe Rogan versus Dad. Let's see that fight.
Joe Rogan would.
Dad gets on top. It's over. Dad'll do the mother's milk smother on him. That's where you get your man boobs and cover their mouth.
Joe Rogan's 10 years older.
I'm not saying he'd purposely kill him. I'm saying this guy's bone density is so pitiful from all of his drugs that like Joe would just do like a kick, a roundhouse or something, and then he would just be dead because his head would just like crumble into pieces.
He'd hit him with the hot rod shit your pants punch.
yeah, and it just would be over. I don't know. It seems like a waste of money for these people to be.
Well, it's because Liver King fell off. This is called clout chasing for the young kids.
Yeah.
So this is how
Even I know that one. Even though I know that one.
Clout?
Well, I learned about it in the Desperate Housewives of Mormons.
Oh, the Desperate Lives of Mormon Wives. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I can never remember what it's called. Yeah, but they talk about clout chasing, so I learned it from that.
I watched that with my wife for about half an episode, and I looked at her and I said, Maddie, these people would be seriously better off if they were killed with hammers. And it was televised. I mean, the world would be a better place.
I watched the first episode of the first season with Amanda, and that's where it ended for me.
It's hilarious.
I'm with you. I was like watching one episode, and I told her, I said, these people, the world would be better if they killed these people with hammers.
I like some of those shows. I like that one. I like Selling Sunset. And I think those are the two where they just are so catty, and it's hilarious because
Selling Sunset was good because I liked the houses. I was more interested in the houses. I liked the houses
too. I was like, these are some nice places. I was thinking, how could I get hired and I could just sell one of these places and then I wouldn't have to work anymore?
I just like the idea of arguing with your coworker in a multi-million-dollar house. That was what I really liked, being like a really nice place, being like, bitch, this is my commission in like a living room.
Don't they have like parties at those houses too where they're all fighting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in front of their clients. They're like screaming at each other, and like the people that might buy the house are just like right. I'm like, what is this? How unprofessional.
So Selling Sunset gets a pass because I forget which season I watched one of them, and I was like, this is good.
Yeah. I like that one.
And I tried, there was a knockoff one about like New York. I can't even remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, the original's the best. And yeah, I like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It's hilarious. And then like that was one thing on TikTok where you could see, since they're mom talk or whatever, and you could see like people taking the different sides and stuff, and it's so funny because like the main lady, Taylor, so toxic, but everybody thinks she's God's gift to earth, and it's so funny. Like this gal needs to get her life in order, but
those people
like,
have kids.
She's perfect and amazing. I know, they're mothers. They're all mothers. I'm like, oh boy.
The new generation of serial killers are going to be insane. It's going to be like OJ levels of like punch, stabbing that breaks ribs type of psychopaths. I mean, it's going to be insane, the amount of child neglect that's going to... I mean, true crime is going to spike in 20 years. Yeah. You can quote me on that.
Okay, well, you're going to keep this and hold on to it.
So you need to become like the new Dateline guy, because it looks like he's on the way out, so... Which I guess he's looked like he's been on the way out for the last...
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Dateline, but you're looking old.
But then you said that's how he's looked for
that's how he's looked forever.
Who was the guy that used to do America's Most Wanted?
Oh, yeah, Walsh.
Yeah. In 1997, my son was kidnapped. He'd always start every episode like that.
Yeah, his son, yeah.
It was probably before 97. It was probably like 1979. My son was kidnapped. That's Donald Trump. I can't remember his voice. But
that's not quite right.
But I want to take his spot as like late night TV or whatever.
I don't think America's Most Wanted's on anymore.
No, but I want his job. Could you imagine me doing that? That would be a great gig.
I think a lot of people would watch.
Do you like Trump's latest little saying?
Yeah, they don't know what the F they're doing.
Do you understand that?
I love it.
Me this picture, and it was like of Lincoln, 70 years, and then Ray, like all these presidents saying it was Trump.
They don't know what the F they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, kitty cat?
finally somebody speaks with some intelligence about the situation in the Middle East. They've been fighting for so long they don't even know what the F they're doing.
And he just walks off.
Yeah, you understand that? And he turns and goes right to a helicopter. Yeah, finally somebody.
And then did you see him and the secretary or something of NATO were talking, and the NATO guy was like stopped, interjected him, and said, "Yeah, something about sometimes Daddy just has to speak with a strong voice or something, strong language." And then Trump's like, "Yeah, sometimes you just have to use a certain word."
It really creeps me out when people call other people Daddy.
Apparently, Trump has been really running with the Daddy term.
That weirds me out even more.
The Daddy term? That's gross. Daddy. I have called him Daddy Trump for a while now.
You have?
Yeah.
So you're on board with this.
Or Donnie J. You gotta romanticize him a little bit.
I don't think I'm gonna do that.
Joey B was great. I miss Joey B.
I don't.
The Joey B speeches will never... I want... Because I used to think that it was a joke that they would take old Joe out of context when he would do his speeches. And then I listened to a couple for myself, like from start to finish. I was like, it's all incoherent. Like it's not incoherent, but it's like, oh man, it sounds like me talking. And then I kind of put it in perspective. I was like, oh, he just sounds like me if I was the president.
This is
stumbling over my words.
Trump likened the countries of Israel and Iran to two kids in a schoolyard that had a big fight. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for 2 to 3 minutes, then it's easy to stop them. And then this other guy, the NATO Secretary General, he raised his eyebrows when he interjected and said, "Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get them to stop." And then Trump says, "You have to use strong language. Every so often, you have to use a certain word."
Oh, jeez.
I had a...
it makes me more and more uncomfortable every time you say what the guy said.
Daddy.
Yeah,
but I do like that Trump refers to himself as Daddy. That's kind of kinky. I like that.
That's exactly why it's going to make me throw up right here on the podcast.
Donnie J's Daddy.
Anyway, what were you going to say? If you were going to say Maddie calls you Daddy, I just can't do it. So just... keep it to yourself.
No, I wasn't going to say that. That's a good idea, though.
Oh, boy.
Might have to spin the tires on that idea a little. Nolan took his ear cup off. He goes, I can't be listening.
He's like, I can't listen to this anymore.
We were at a job this one time, and somebody, there's some guys talking. It was one of those, like, rough-ins for an apartment. And there was an older guy there. And somebody said something, and the older guy just goes, "I'm a married man. I can't listen to this," and just walked away in the middle of the conversation. I can't wait. He was like 90. He's like, "I'm a married man. I can't listen to this." And just did an about face and out of there. It wasn't even that dirty. He just was looking for an excuse to leave. But it was funny. It's like, that's funny. I'm a married man. I can't be listening to this.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Apparently, Nolan and I have to watch what we say on the podcast because we got people watching us, and then when they listen to it, we get text messages.
Mom and Dad?
No, other people.
Uh-oh. Who else is listening? New listeners? Let's name drop them. Let's go names. Let's go name, address, and phone number. Let's start in that order. Start with their full legal name.
Nolan's cousin. Because in one of the podcasts I said that our friends are dropping like flies, and then he texted and was like, "Your friends are dropping like flies, my ass." And then Nolan's like, "What are you talking about?"
I couldn't.
And he's like, "Do you guys even know what you say on your podcast?"
No.
I said, "No, I don't."
We
remember.
wish our senators well, and then we talk really bad about my dad. We call him by his middle name, and that's just about it.
That's what our podcast consists of.
Sorry.
Oh, goodness.
We call our dad by his middle name, and that's really all this podcast was about.
I think I still call him Dad. I don't think I've called him Jay on the podcast.
We ate at this little restaurant Friday night. I don't know. Would you even call it a restaurant?
I don't even know where we were Friday
Can I interject really quick here?
The Wagon Wheel.
Oh, yeah.
How much have you been working with Nolan? Because he said restaurant, not restaurant. Is this something that you've done? That's the first time I've heard Nolan say restaurant, not restaurant. Have you said something to him?
Because, no, I haven't.
Because if you've said something to change my sweet brother-in-law, I'm coming for you. That is a threat.
Say peanuts. See if it's still the same.
Come on, Nolan. Nolan, say peanuts.
I'm not doing it. Not being recorded.
Say peanuts, everybody's fine. Say poop nuts, everybody loses their mind.
No. Come on, say peanuts.
I'm not going to be on live air saying peanuts.
Peanuts. I heard peanuts. I heard peanuts. Very clearly.
I did not hear peanuts. It's the way he says the S at the end that gets him. Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
I'm sorry you had to grow up with me, who is just a vulgar and demented individual that had too much access to the internet, that I ruined your mental capacity.
Anyway, we ate at this little place. It's like a little bakery, basically.
It's called the Wagon Wheel, but it's very different from Potlatch's Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Not the same at all.
I was getting excited.
Just this tiny little bakery. I mean, there's like 6 tables in there, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And so we come in there to meet some of my family there, and there was not room they were sitting at a table for 4, and we were going to be 6. And so luckily these 2 other people, they kind of moved their stuff around, and they're
like, come sit with us. Like, we'll scoot over to one side.
Yeah, so
very nice.
We met them and talked to them, and nice little Spanish family.
Yeah.
And then whenever they were done, they have like a fridge there with food in it that you can buy. Mm-hmm. And they had said last Friday, like, they're regulars for this place for years, like at their like the Friday night suppers that they have there. But they'd never bought food from there before, like frozen food or whatever. And he said they'd got some meatloaf and different things, and he was pretty pumped. He's like, we got like 3 meals out of this one, like $18 meatloaf. And then his wife was up there looking for the fridge, and he leaned up and he said, and it's better than her meatloaf.
You just said you have to be careful what you say on here, dude.
And he said if we told anyone, he was going to come up to Idaho and get us. So now we've told everyone.
There's no names.
Funny.
No names.
That's funny.
It would only be if they listened to the podcast, because no one else would know who it was that we were even talking about.
But anyway, then they bought our meal and everything. Like, because I went up to try to pay, and then they said it was already paid, and then I thought my uncle paid, and then he said he tried, but it was already paid for. So they paid for our meal.
So the nice couple paid for our meal. Yeah. It was very sweet. I'm glad we made a good impression.
I wouldn't have done that. I would have said you guys look freaking homeless.
Actually, we were looking pretty good. Nolan wanted to look classy going to the airport. He said everybody shows up to the airport wearing sweats and they all look trashy. And so, well, he didn't say trashy. What'd you say? Just kind of not put together. He wanted to look classy. So we looked classy, actually. We looked good.
How do you guys manage the airport? Because I start drinking caffeine 3 hours before, and I stop drinking caffeine 3 hours after the airport. So I'm on hypervigilance the whole time I'm in there, tweaking. What do you guys do?
Well, we got up at 2:30, left at 3, got there by 4:15, 4:30. Mm-hmm. We were going to go to, it used to be Starbucks, but it's Thomas Hammer.
No, it's like no.
What is it?
I don't even know what its name. I don't know if it's a chain.
Oh.
Is it Top Pot?
No, but the line was like 1.5 miles long because everyone else had the same idea. Mm-hmm. So then we went up, and there was this little booth there,
market,
and they had breakfast sandwiches, but I'm kind of weird about breakfast and breakfast sandwiches.
And for sure at 4 a.m.
Yeah, and so we just ordered one, and we were going to share it, but it actually was really good, and we should have got another one. But no, we didn't have any caffeine until we got to
Denver,
I guess. But our flight was super rough, and usually I kind of rely on the ginger ale, and they did not serve refreshments. And I can't remember exactly what it is called, but I'm calling it economy minus is what we got. And so
we just dirty spit in your face on the way by.
Yeah.
But anyway, so usually we have a window and a middle seat, but we had a middle and an aisle seat. But apparently the new thing is that nobody opens up their windows. I think it's because everybody's so afraid of the UV rays. It was not one window in our whole area was open. So I don't even know where we were at on the plane.
I sat up and looked around and I could not see one window that was open.
And so without my ginger ale, without a window, and with turbulence, I was feeling sick. And then Nolan's like, I don't feel very good. And that made me feel a little better because I don't think I've ever seen him motion sick. This is the first time ever in 8 years of knowing him. And I'm like, okay, I feel a little better that I don't feel well. But yeah, when we landed, we're like, we need to get a snack. We need to just kind of recuperate.
So we went to Target by Bass Pro.
Robert!
Amanda went into the bathroom, said she was going to do some makeup. I came out, went and sat on the bench. I get a text after a few minutes that Amanda says,
I'm getting the deodorant.
She says...
Because we needed to buy deodorant.
What did you say? It was something...
I'm getting the deodorant.
It's a shame you guys were at the Target 4 minutes from my home. It's a shame it was the middle of the day.
You were at work, you little boob.
I could take this camera and go out in the street and show you the Target.
You were at work. So I guess I could have came to your apartment and seen Robert and Julia. But okay. You wouldn't have been there. What did I say?
Could have left a key under the mat. You guys could have popped in here.
I'm getting deodorant.
That's what.
And here's the thing: is I just thought she was still.
What I said.
I just thought she was still in the bathroom, and so I'm just sitting there. And then a little while later, she calls me or she texts and asks if I was pooping. I was like, no, I'm just sitting out here on this chair, waiting for you to come out of the bathroom. And then she had shopped, got her snacks, got drinks, everything. I did see something weird though, and this maybe you're familiar with this type of activity in Denver.
Is that in Northfield?
There was about 6 to 7 black dudes. Just dudes. They can be just dudes. I'm not trying to. You already
f***ed the story up by saying they were black dudes.
And then all of a sudden, there was all of a sudden one girl shows up with him that has a kid, and so they're all just standing there. One girl, bunch of dudes. I'm like, okay, this is strange.
I don't think he likes what you're doing to him.
I'm like, this is strange. I don't know if they know whose the kid is. Who knows? But they're all just standing around there talking after they came through the self-checkout. Well, a little bit later, here comes, I would say, a 60-some-year-old white man. He comes through the normal checkout, gets his stuff, talks with the friendly little lady. He comes and stands over with all these people. And then he turns and leaves, and they all just follow him out the door.
Don't say what you're thinking.
You got me to sit up. That's the first interesting thing I've heard all night. I'm keyed in now.
So that's all I saw. Like, I don't know what was going on there, but there was about 6 to 7 black dudes and a black lady with a kid following the 60-year-old white man out the door.
I don't know. That is... There's some kind of a scam at Target. I don't know. That Target's nice.
Like it's not even like he was buying their stuff. Like they each bought their own individual stuff, and he just had a little tiny thing, and then they all just headed out together. So I don't.
Maybe he was the guy that drove the church van. I don't know, Nolan.
I know, maybe. I don't know. It was a Friday morning. I don't know. I didn't know if they were going to work the fields or.
Oh man, Maddie and I were going to dinner, and you can't say it on the podcast, dude.
I said, don't say it.
Is that what you thought he was going to say?
I thought that's where his mind was going to go to. Because you both are racist mofos.
Warden was taking him back.
What was happening with you and Maddie? I don't think he's laughed this hard since the last time I messed up words on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know what's going on in Denver.
Sit over there.
All of that just got cut out. From that, I think that whole story should go because I don't know if you're being racist or not.
I'm not. I'm really.
I don't know.
I
think the whole story should just get cut out and posted as a private video on YouTube so I can watch it later.
I was just a confused onlooker.
What happened with you and Maddie? Pipe down.
You really want to know what happened? No.
Yeah, you guys were going to a restaurant.
We were going downtown to eat.
Downtown restaurant?
Yeah, and a guy was.
I do say restaurant weird, don't I? I make sure every.
You make sure it's like
restaurant.
A lot of syllables. Yeah, I think you put more syllables.
There's another word I say. Interesting. Apparently, that's not how you say it. Interesting. Anyway, what's happening?
So you make a turn and you just have to yield to pedestrians, and it was busy, so people are walking past, and then the guy just decided to go while there was a couple walking by. I mean, got up to where the guy like put his hand out and touched the guy's hood, and it was like yelling, and then the car like stopped, and the dude just hurled a full water bottle from like me to my monitor right into the guy's passenger window. I thought he was going to shatter the window. That thing, it was like a full, like one of the big smart waters. The guy pulled over, the window came down. There was some hollering. I just went right on by.
So you don't know how it ended.
No, I saw the one guy just kept walking. It's like, come on, dude. Like, you almost hit him. He hit your window with a water bottle. There's no damage. Everybody should just go their second way. But he was ready to. If he would have got out, I would have pulled over and watched the fight. But
yeah, that's funny.
But there we go. There's another incident of road rage. I think that makes incident number 3 for sure. 3 for sure. And then I saw two bums fist fighting. That was good. Up in like Thornton, like on 104th Ave. That was nice. Driving by, saw 2 bums.
That is a nice target there, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. That's Northfield. That's the Northfield shopping center. And Northfield's nice. I'm a Central Park boy myself.
Last time we were there, we did see like a definite druggie that didn't have his nose anymore, pacing back and forth in front of Bass Pro. Mm-hmm. He literally did not have a nose on his face. It was just flat.
Listen, okay, so the interstate is right there, of course.
Listen.
You're just north of the interstate, I-70.
Yeah.
Just south of the interstate is the Doubletree, which is the hotel that they bought, and they turned it into a shelter for homeless individuals.
Is that the one we stayed at?
No, you stayed at the Doubletree. There's 2 of them. There's the Doubletree Hilton and the Doubletree other thing. They call it the Troubletree because the fire department's always
had to stay.
Yeah, you might have stayed there before it turned into it. But anyhow, so that's why there's a lot of vagrancy around there.
We stayed at the one that's right by the interstate. That's on like it would be on the east side of whatever road that you kind of lived on.
That would be the Troubletree. We had you stay at the Troubletree. Before it was the Troubletree, you guys stayed there. So that hotel is like, if you ever saw Judge Dredd, that's kind of like the Peach Trees. Anyway, that's like a haven for violence.
Well,
so that's not too far away from the Bass Pro, and it's all like green belt in between there and the interstate and an underpass. So there's like there's a lot of people living in there.
That's just where they've taken over, kind of.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's unfortunate because like that's a good idea to like old hotels that are going out of business for the city to buy them and people to live there, but they don't maintain them. They don't maintain. People have to be clean to live there. So then it's not a safe place to be for the people that want to be clean. So then the people that want to be clean and are homeless don't live there because it's not safe. So it's like you're just perpetuating the cycle of homelessness. So it's a great idea. It's just they didn't execute it very well.
Most of the time, if any kind of government is in charge, it's not going to be executed well. Mm-hmm. They just like to screw things up and run away. Like throwing a hand grenade in and then running the opposite way. They're like, here, let's give this a go.
I told Maddie they were going to get it full. They were going to nail all the doors shut and light it on fire. That's what I told Maddie they were going to do. But that was not the case.
Oh my gosh. I can't have either one of you on this podcast.
I didn't say that's what I wanted. I said that's what they were going to do and then file an insurance claim.
You came up with it.
I didn't.
You came up with it.
That's what I would do.
And then you said it to us. Like Nolan having inside thoughts and saying them out loud.
Hey, she saw it all from, apparently I was sitting on a bench here watching it all, and she was just on the other side of the checkouts waiting for me, I guess, seeing it all,
I didn't have any bad thoughts, though, because I'm not a racist.
See, we said we were gonna cut that part out, and you mentioned it, which means now we have to cut this part out as well.
I can't cut anything out anymore. It all stays.
We're not cutting anything out. Nothing gets cut except for the bad words.
Oh no!
We have to attract an audience somehow.
we can't put we can't put in what Nolan said 5 minutes ago. And then what I said on top of that 4 minutes and 30 seconds ago when I thought it was getting cut out. We can't put that in.
Well, it's too late now. Anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the comedy podcast, The Lone Jack, totally off track. Everything we say here is not serious.
And this will be our last episode.
This will be the last episode. Our names are fake. The places are fake. We are not real people. This has been entirely AI. My name is Fred Franklin with the Lone Jack Podcast Network. We'll be seeing you 2 weeks from now.